that Maimonides wrote that letter for a purpose. What Joseph didn't tell you as to why that particular letter was written and who was it written to.
He didn't respond by the way to the
No, don't worry about that. First point, Maimonides wrote what he read. Okay, and even if we believe the letter is authentic and was indeed written by Maimonides, okay, indeed, if we believe that the letter was actually written by Maimonides, then Maimonides is a plain liar. Let me explain why. No. Did I say any time that Maimonides is a truthful person? I was simply telling you. I never said. Yeah, Maimonides, okay, was a Jewish rabbi, highly regarded by the Jewish people throughout the world, because he was a learned Jew who got his education in the Arabic language in Spain. He would agree with that, absolutely. So Islam gave him his education, or the Islamic domain. Islamic domain gave him that. So in other words, Maimonides got his top of the range education, Oxford, Cambridge put together in Islamic Spain, and he wrote in the Arabic language, in Hebrew characters. Even his book, famous book, A Guide to the Perplexed, was an amazing book on philosophy where he defended the concept of God quite successfully. All of that given to Maimonides by the Muslims through a Muslim system in a Muslim domain. Okay, he agrees. But then he writes this letter that the worst time we have ever had is under these people. Hello? You just received top of the range. It's like me living in Britain. Please. Shake. Me living in Britain. I go to university here. I enjoy all the freedoms, all the privileges in this country. And I turn around and say, this is the worst place in the world. This is a really bad place. It's rubbish. I'm really oppressed. You would say to me, what the hell are you doing here? What the hell are you doing here? So I would be a liar. Britain has given us, we cannot thank Britain and the British people enough for all the freedoms we have here, all the education we have received, and all the good things. Okay, wait. Now, wait. Let me go. If the BNP comes to power or the EDL comes to power now, and Allah forbid, God forbid, and they start brutalizing Muslims, as you know they are a bunch of Islamophobes, funded by the State of Israel, amazingly, okay, if they come to power and they start brutalizing us, okay, have I got a right to say that my experience throughout the British history was evil? Wait, brother, please.
The state of, are you saying on camera? Wait. He's saying the state of Israel.
Yes, I am saying on camera again. The Zionists were funding Tommy Robinson. I'll pull out. Okay. So who are the Zionists?
The state of Israel, the government of Israel.
Yes.
Please show us your source, Adnan.
Think tanks.
No, you said the state of Israel.
Let me finish. Zionist think tanks were funding Tommy Robinson.
That's not what you said, Adnan. It's on camera.
So who is funding these Zionist think tanks? Who's funding them?
The state doesn't fund Zionist think tanks. I'm a Zionist.
So who funds Zionists? Who funds Zionists?
Who funds me, Adnan? I run the biggest in the UK.
Let me finish my points. Now it's clear that Maimonides wrote that letter for a purpose. What Joseph didn't tell you as to why that particular letter was written and who was it written to. Who was it written to?
Yemen. Teman.
Who?
Yemen.
To who?
To the Jews of Yemen.
To the Jewish people of Yemen. Why?
Because there was a false Messiah and there was persecution of
No, you don't know.
Yes, that's
you don't know. Go and do your research on the letter. Okay, wait. The Jewish people of Yemen wrote a letter to Maimonides asking him questions about certain passages in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament, in other words, that these prophecies, the Muslims are telling us in Yemen, that these prophecies apply to Muhammad. Okay? They apply to Muhammad. So for that reason, shall we convert to Islam or not? Are you listening, everyone? Yeah. The Jewish people of Yemen were overwhelmingly influenced by Islamic da'wah in Yemen. The Muslims were showing them passages in their scriptures where allegedly Prophet Muhammad was mentioned according to the Muslims. The Jewish people were confused. They didn't know how to answer these claims. So they write to their greatest scholar in the world, who happens to be Musa bin Maymun, also known as Maimonides, living at the time in Egypt. So what does Maimonides do to dissuade them, to push them away from Islam? Okay, because I have read the letter, I've read his spins on the biblical passages.
What does it say about the message?
Maimonides, wait. Maimonides, wait.
He allowed you to speak.
I am talking specifically of the letter. I'm not talking about a messianic movement in Yemen. I'm talking about the letter. Okay? So the letter was not about conversion.
It was completely about
Thank you.
conversion.
Thank you. So I'm
We're both right, Adnan.
what I'm saying is
Yeah,
okay.
what you're saying is
But I'm not
correct.
talking about the messianic movement. I'm talking about the
It was all
letter
intellectual.
and why it was written and why it was responded to, right? So the Jews of Yemen wrote this letter. So to push the Jewish people of Yemen away from Islam, Maimonides lied through his teeth, literally spinning the biblical passages in erroneous ways, unbelievable ways. If you read the letter of Maimonides, you will see what was this guy doing, and he lied through his teeth about his condition and the condition of the Jewish people in the Muslim lands, right? And this he did to push the Jewish people away, the Jews of Yemen away from Islam, because they were on the verge of converting to Islam, and many Jewish people throughout the Muslim history in Muslim lands converted to Islam because they were convinced that their books have passages referring to Muhammad or an Arabian prophet, whom they reject because he is simply not a Jewish prophet. He is an Arabian prophet descended from Ishmael. My point completed here on Maimonides, and your point dismantled. Therefore. Okay. So now next point was your next point. Your next. He made a second point.
Equality between Muslims and Jews.
And he talked about the massacres and 1 million.
Why Jews? Why Jews?
Yeah.
They were not equal to Muslims.
And the second point he made was the dhimmis, the Jewish people came back and they fought the dhimma. Hold on a second. Joseph claimed in his second point that the Jewish people came back and they liberated themselves from dhimma. But who were these people and where did they come from? They weren't even living with the Muslims. So what dhimma status were they fighting? What they had no idea what dhimma is. They never lived under dhimma. Wait. Let me finish. Okay. And by the way, and what was the condition? What was the condition of the Jewish people under dhimma? Okay. We have already amply discussed that point.
Yeah, we discussed
that the Jewish people.
We discussed the massacres under the Ottomans. We discussed the massacres. Yeah?
So he will discuss the pixel, not the picture. He will ignore the picture and he will continue to magnify the pixel. The pixel is the picture. This is what Joseph is doing. So he will talk about Al-Muwahidun, he will talk about the massacre of Granada, and he will ignore 1,000 years history of peaceful coexistence. He will not discuss that because he's a Zionist. And this is how Zionists are, unfortunately. Okay? Because Zionists are spin doctors. Okay, they are spin doctors. They have been spinning the whole world.
Drop the ad hominems.
Okay.
You can debate me without ad hominems.
Okay. Now. Let me finish. I have to pray. Let me finish. Okay. So what dhimma were the Jewish people fighting in Palestine, having come from Germany, having come from Poland, having come from Britain, having come from New York? Okay. What they did was these Zionists, according to him, mostly godless atheists who came from Western countries. They made the life of peacefully coexisting Jewish people in the Muslim lands difficult. What they did was they created a situation in Palestine. These atheistic Zionists who came from Western countries, according to Joseph.
This is your words.
No,
The majority of Israelis are from the Middle East and North Africa.
No, wait. Why? I'll tell you why. Because these Western Zionists, brother, you're disturbing me. I'm trying to finish. These Western Zionists came from Western lands. They created a situation in Palestine that caused the peaceful coexistence between the Jewish people and the Muslim people in the Muslim lands to be disturbed. They got disturbed, and as a consequence, they started to emigrate to the so-called state of Israel. And within some time, all of them either went to Western lands or they came to the state of Israel because of the situation caused by Western Zionists who came from Western lands, and they were godless according to Joseph. They were according to Joseph, they were godless. The third point, what was the third point? What was the third point?
Yeah, which is why they became to 33,000.
Yeah, I've already addressed that. جزاكم الله خيرا وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Okay.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت.
Anyway, we'll be concluding here today because we have that's no,
we can't.
We finished.
We can't. We have to pray because
Joseph,
they're going to come up with lies and we're going to have to refute them for half an hour.
Joseph, you are finished. Let's finish. Or you finished. So anyway,
But
finish.
again, on a positive note, this is very important. On a positive note, do we hate Joseph? Even though Joseph is a Zionist, he's an Israeli. Do we hate him? Do we want to kill him? Do we want him destroyed? Do we want him to die? No. If anything, I have sympathy for him. He's our brother in humanity. As loyal as he is to a brutal state and a terrorist force in the land of Palestine, which is an occupier, we still have sympathy for him. We still invite him to the truth. We still want him to learn the value of justice and live by it. Okay, so that's closing remarks.
Sheikh, okay, then I'll get the closing comment.
anyway, no closing comment. Anyway, I think our brother Adnan has addressed most of the points. He mentioned the last point that the number of the Jews in the Arab land it reduced from nearly 1 million to 3,000. Of course, this is what's happening because when you are causing a problem in Palestine, and then you are inviting everyone free citizenship. You take this salary, you do this, you do that. Of course, one of them they will immigrate rather than to stay, in a situation which is many of the Arab countries. They are poor countries, unfortunately. That's why they migrate to the state of Israel, thinking, or to the state, to the occupation state, like you could say, who they think that it is a good choice for them. But again, I want him just to reflect, to reflect on the points that I mentioned. What happens from the state of Israel against the Muslims and against the Palestinian is exactly what used to happen to the Jews, the innocent one, by the Nazis. And that's exactly what we are warning our friends, our Jewish friends, not to get into this. Because at the end of the day, what you give, you will take. And we will conclude with here.
And we have nothing but sympathy for the people of Israel. We are not the enemies, the Muslims of the world. If the Zionists are telling you that their lives are in danger, the Muslims are after their blood, they are lying to you. They are lying to you. We do not want anyone dead. We want peace and justice for all people. The Muslims coexisted with the Jewish people for over 1,000 years. Okay, and I strongly recommend a book for you to go and study from a Jewish scholar. His name is Jacob Lasner. He's an American Jewish scholar, and he has penned a book. He has authored a book, Jews, Christians, and the Abode of Islam. I repeat the title, Jews, Christians, and the Abode of Islam. Jacob Lasner, a Jewish historian, he will tell you what happened to the Jewish people throughout the Abode of Islam for over 1,000 years, and the Christians, and then you will get the true picture. What the Zionists are trying to show you, that these Muslims are bloodthirsty, they want to kill. This is a lie. If that was the case, why did the Muslims protect the Jewish people for over 1,000 years against brutality they were facing at the hands of the Christian world?